Chief Meteorologist Tim Buckley here with you on this Tuesday evening. What we want to do now is get you ready for a severe weather threat coming up on our Wednesday. We're expecting a line of storms that'll be pretty strong, packing a big punch, moving into our Triad area for the morning into the midday. And it really does have a bit of a punch with it as well. Really expecting this between about 7 a.m. and noon for the storms and gusty winds that really are just going to be with us pretty much most of the day. Damaging winds are possible. There is also a low tornado risk, so there's plenty of need to make sure you're weather aware for tomorrow. Have your alerts turned on your phone. Have a couple of different ways to receive warnings just in case there were to be a severe thunderstorm warning or a tornado warning for your area. It's definitely going to be messy for travel as well, especially right around that morning commute time frame. That's kind of what we're tracking as of this evening. I want to show you the current conditions. You remember yesterday and the day before, everything was a bit cold outside, and now we've really started to warm up. You've noticed that difference. Things have gotten a little bit less dry as well. The humidity has come up after our days of fire danger. That's gone now. Temperatures are right about 60 degrees even at this late hour. At 8 o'clock, we're at 60 in Greensboro, 57 in Mount Airy, 61 in Lexington. And notice we put these tiny little arrows on the screen here for you. That shows the wind is moving in from the south. That indicates to me warmth and moisture are both moving in at this time. You've probably already noticed too that the winds have started to bounce around a little bit. Right now we're seeing wind gusts at about 15 to 25 miles per hour. That's just the beginning. You're going to notice this as you're trying to get some sleep tonight and especially early tomorrow morning, that the wind is only going to keep on going up and get a little bit more gusty as this storm system approaches. It's a really big storm. So we're going to take a couple of minutes here to just show you the size of this system, where it is, and well, where it's going. On the wide view, here we are in North Carolina. We're getting ready for this tomorrow morning. On the other side of this, you can see there's severe weather happening right now across Alabama, Mississippi, and Louisiana. That's the southern edge of the storm. What happens with these systems is that the front edge can bring in and pump up a lot of that warm, humid air from the Gulf and send it across the deep south. On the other side of things, this thing is also strong enough to wrap in a lot of cold air on the north side. So there's a winter component to this storm as well for places like the Midwest. We'll start out with the severe weather side of things because this is more similar to what we will be seeing right here in the Piedmont for your Wednesday morning. There's the city of New Orleans, the state of Louisiana here. We have Mississippi, of course, and Alabama just to kind of get your bearings here. All the yellow boxes indicate a severe thunderstorm warning happening right now. Keep in mind, it's Fat Tuesday. It's Mardi Gras, literally tonight. Bad weather happening in the Big Easy. It will be clearing out for them over the next hour or two. Looks like at least one active tornado warning happening right now. City of Mobile is right there. This is just about to close in and cross the Mississippi and Alabama border. You can see the storm system, though, it's really in a linear phase. And what we mean by that, it's a straight up and down line. Sometimes we would call it a squall line, but either way, you can plainly see the way that this storm is setting up. A line of storms just like that moving into the area. And something like this is very similar to what we will see early tomorrow morning. Now, it would be good news if we have a little bit of rain out ahead of the heaviest line. That could help to stabilize things, kind of cool things down a little bit. But even so, we have a risk of some nasty weather for sure. The severe weather risk for these parts of the country for the rest of the night tonight into early tomorrow morning. They have a level 3 concern of that from New Orleans and into the Gulf Coast, all the way over to the Florida Panhandle and most of southern Alabama. Mississippi has seen the line roll through, so their risk has gone away. They have a level 2 risk in northern Alabama, and that's about what we will expect early tomorrow morning for our part of North Carolina on our side of the storm. Now let's take a look at the other side of the system, and boy, oh boy, it is dynamic. You can see the swirling motion right here. That's Missouri, Kansas City in the center of the screen. That's kind of the center of the storm. So earlier they had warmth and they had storms and they had rain. Now things are changing. The way these things work, like I said, the warmth comes in on the front and then the cold comes in and wraps around on the back edge. So right now they're already seeing a change over to snow in Minneapolis, Iowa, Nebraska, South Dakota, Kansas too, and eventually Missouri as well. this is something that is really going to be a blizzard situation for them, because as the storm gets even stronger, the winds are going to get stronger as well. And when you look at this winter radar, the whitish color represents snow, but those darker blues, they really indicate some whiteout or really heavy snow conditions. And that's exactly what you're seeing across Iowa, over toward Omaha, Nebraska as well, and parts of Kansas. So a really interesting weather system and a tough one to deal with for the middle part of our country. To show it to you in a different way, we call this the water vapor loop. What you need to know, we're kind of giving you an X-ray of the atmosphere. You can see how this air is really spiraling around, and it kind of brings everything together with what I was just saying. There's that air coming in from the north with the cold, and here's that warmth on the front edge. We're going to be on the warm side of the system as it moves closer to North Carolina going into Wednesday. So here's Futurecast. This will be tomorrow morning, Wednesday morning at about 6:30. High winds are likely with that there line right there. And you can see the warm front, that'll be moving across our area overnight tonight. Gusty winds will be here while we're sleeping. So when you wake up in the morning, winds are already blowing around about 30 to 40 miles per hour. This squall line is intense, but it's pretty narrow. So we're only expecting about 1 to 3 hours of that rainfall and damaging wind potential early on in the morning. Behind it, the cold front will slide through. We'll see sunshine for Wednesday afternoon, more sunshine for Thursday, but the gusty winds are going to remain for a couple of days. That storm system is strong enough. We'll be caught in between a pressure gradient, and that means the winds will continue to whip around in a pretty big way. Let's take a closer look at our Futurecast. Again, this is early tomorrow morning. Start you at about 5:30. I'm actually going to step out of the way so you can see the full picture here for a second or two. So find your town on the map here. We're going to click this through for a couple of times. Boone's getting it at about 5 to 6 a.m. That's some moderate to heavy rainfall. But take a look at this. That's the squall line we were just showing you in Alabama. We're expecting it to be right there in the foothills, Sparta, Wilkesboro, Elkin, those areas by around 8 a.m. Statesville, you too, you're going to be seeing this. Now, Winston-Salem, you're on deck, probably moving your way by about 9 to 10 o'clock. And then here you have it moving through parts of the rest of the Triad. Let's back this up ever so slightly just to give you an idea. Again, you can see it moving right there through Greensboro and Burlington by around 10 to 11 a.m. But there is really a lot of motion moving here. This is 9 o'clock through Winston-Salem, Stokes County, Lexington as well, right around PTI Airport by around 9:30. And this is the part of the storm that could have those damaging wind gusts of 50, 60 miles per hour that you really have to look out for. This is a lot of the time when people are on the roadways, so you've got to be cautious or maybe even change your morning commute tomorrow morning. Here's 10 o'clock. Our Futurecast has it rolling through Reedsville, Greensboro, High Point, and Asheboro at that time. And then by around 10:30 and 11 o'clock, it's starting to push off into Caswell County, Alamance County, the rest of Randolph, and into Chatham County. Once we get to about 11 a.m. and noon, this is pushing away from us. Now, I will tell you, there are 1 or 2 computer models that redevelop a storm or two for the late afternoon. Most of them don't. So I think that any threat for the afternoon is pretty low, not impossible, but it's just not something that's all that likely. We'll watch it even so. Let's talk about the wind gusts now. Really breezy as we go through the overnight hours, generally with gusts around 30 to 35 miles per hour. But once that line gets a little bit closer, you can see why we're a little concerned here. 40 to 45 mile per hour gusts should be common for a couple of hours, maybe even as high as 50 miles per hour and a little higher in some of those storms. That's the concern for wind damage. That's why you want to charge up all your devices and kind of secure any outdoor objects before you go to bed tonight. Once we move forward throughout the rest of the day, there could be a little bit of a lull right behind the line. And then for the afternoon, you can see here with gusty winds around 30 to 35 miles per hour, they're just going to continue. It's going to be a windy day pretty much all day long. And as I was saying before, that wind is going to stick around all the way into the day on Thursday, just at a little bit of a lower level. So the main threats with any of these storms would be our wind gusts that could bring down some trees or power lines. Again, remember in the storms, they could be a little bit higher than that number. There is a tornado threat for North Carolina. It's relatively low for our part of the state. It's a little bit higher as you go out toward the eastern part of the state. So just to recap for you, it is a News 2 weather impact alert day for Wednesday, and with good reason. We have a pretty big risk of severe weather moving through the area. Here's a look at your timeline once more. Earliest in the western counties. For most of the Triad, we're looking at about 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. and then closing in toward noon once we go to the eastern counties, and then it's all winding down and we're saying goodbye to this particular weather system. In the meantime, make sure you're ready to go. Keep us in line or in mind for tomorrow morning. We'll have plenty of updates on WFMY News 2 mornings from about 4:30 in the morning through about 10 o'clock or so. We'll have more updates on WFMY News 2 Plus. Remember, it's always free to download to your TV, and you can watch for free anytime you'd like. We'll be doing extra weather cut-ins throughout the course of this storm.